What if one nation decided it was done sharing power with the rest of the world? No alliances. No negotiations. No limits. Just one goal: total global dominance. Not influence, not leadership. Control. And if that nation was the United States, who could actually stop it? Or more importantly, would anyone even get the chance? The illusion of invincibility on paper, the United States doesn't just lead the world militarily. It overwhelms it. Year after year, it spends close to $1 trillion on defense. That's not just a big number, it's more than what dozens of countries combined pour into their militaries. Roughly a third of all global military spending comes from one country. And it shows. The US doesn't just have a powerful army, it has reach. Real, physical reach. Hundreds of military bases scattered across the planet. From Europe to Asia, from the Middle East to the Pacific. Tens of thousands of troops already stationed far from home. In places like Japan, Germany, and South Korea, American forces are not deploying. They're already there. Waiting. This changes everything. Because if a global conflict started tomorrow, the US wouldn't need to cross oceans. It would already be standing at the front door. War without warning. Modern warfare isn't what it used to be. This wouldn't look like World War II, massive invasions, troops storming beaches. No. Today, power moves faster, quieter, and far more strategically. If the United States ever attempted something this extreme, it wouldn't begin with tanks rolling across borders. It would begin in silence. Satellites locking onto targets. Cyber systems slipping into networks. Financial channels tightening like a noose. Because before a single shot is fired, you cripple your enemy's ability to respond. The invisible weapons, the most powerful weapons today, don't always explode. Some of them simply disconnect you from the world. The US controls key arteries of the global financial system. The dollar isn't just currency, it's infrastructure. It's the system most countries rely on to trade, survive, and function. Now imagine that system shutting you out. Banks freeze overnight. Imports stop. Your currency collapses. Panic spreads faster than any missile. And suddenly, you're not fighting a war. You're trying to keep your country alive. That's power. The kind that doesn't need boots on the ground. Eyes in the sky. But there's another layer most people never think about. Space. Above everything, beyond borders and oceans, is where modern dominance truly begins. Satellites track movement, guide weapons, enable communication, and provide real-time intelligence. Control space, and you control the battlefield before it even forms. Even if enemies try to fight back, destroy satellites, disrupt signals. It's not that simple anymore. New satellites can be launched faster than ever. Within days, sometimes hours, the network rebuilds itself. Meaning one thing: you can't hide. The nuclear shadow. And then, there's the ultimate deterrent. Nuclear weapons. Not as tools of conquest, but as a warning. A boundary. A message that says, push too far, and everything ends. The United States still maintains a full nuclear triad: land, sea, and air capabilities ready at all times. New stealth bombers. Next-generation submarines. Weapons designed not just to strike, but to remain unseen until it's too late. In a global scenario, these aren't used to win. They're used to make sure no one dares to escalate. Because once nuclear weapons enter the equation, there is no victory. Only survival. The breaking point of reality. But here's where the fantasy starts to crack. Because conquering the world isn't the same as controlling it. It's easy to destroy infrastructure. It's easy to pressure governments. But controlling billions of people? That's something else entirely. There's a simple military principle: to occupy a population, you need boots on the ground. A lot of them. For every 1,000 civilians, you need roughly 20 soldiers to maintain control. Now scale that up. 8 billion people. Do the math. No military on Earth, not even the United States, has anywhere near the manpower required. Not even close. Even holding a single massive country like China or India would demand numbers that simply don't exist. The power of resistance in history has already shown us something important. You don't need to be stronger to win. You just need to endure longer. From Vietnam to Afghanistan, smaller forces have outlasted global superpowers. Not by overpowering them, but by refusing to break. Guerrilla warfare. Local resistance. Endless pressure. Technology can help. Drones, surveillance, AI systems. But they can't erase human will. They can't stop people from fighting back. And that's where even the strongest military begins to struggle. Act 8. The world pushes back. Now imagine the rest of the world reacting. Not as individuals, but as a collective force. China and Russia alone would create massive resistance, not necessarily by attacking directly, but by making every move more expensive, more dangerous. Supply chains disrupted. Energy leverage used. Regional conflicts ignited. And they wouldn't need to defeat the United States. They'd only need to make the cost unbearable. Because war isn't just about power. It's about sustainability. Act 9, the real weakness, and that leads to the most overlooked factor of all. The United States itself. Because no empire collapses from the outside first. It breaks from within. Massive debt. Economic pressure. Rising costs. Now add a global war on top of that. The strain would be enormous. And then comes the hardest question: who fights this war? Fewer young people qualify for military service today. Even fewer want it. To sustain something this large, a draft would likely return. And history has shown exactly what that can trigger. Protests. Division. Unrest. Because when people stop believing in the mission collapses. Final act, the truth no one wants to admit. So, could the United States conquer the world? Not in the way people imagine. Not with flags planted in every country. Not with total occupation. That's not how modern power works anymore. But could it force much of the world to comply? Pressure governments, control economies, shape global behavior without firing a shot? That's far more realistic. Because in today's world, power isn't about how much land you take. It's about how much control you have, without needing to take it at all. And maybe that's the real question we should be asking. Not who could stop the United States, but what kind of world we would be living in if no one could. Because a world controlled by fear isn't a world that's been conquered. It's a world that's been silenced. And history has one lesson it repeats over and over again. No matter how powerful something becomes, nothing stays in control forever.